it was only until I totally gave up the fruit that it disappeared.
Fruit,
Maybe a
that's
month after,
crazy.
maybe a month after that. Yeah, it
So the
is.
last thing that was still there was the blueberries, and the moment you eliminated the blueberries, all gout,
Yeah,
your last remaining effects of gout completely went away.
yeah, it's completely gone. I mean, I can get down into the ancestral squat now without any pain, kind of thing. Yeah, which is amazing. But I mean,
Okay.
it's every joint in your body. I mean, my fingers feel more flexible. My neck, the range of motion of my neck is way better. It's just every joint in your body. I think I described it once as my joints feel like they're made of rubber bands and WD-40
I
compared to
love
where I
it.
was.
This is gonna be the hook
So,
for this YouTube video. I'm gonna clip that, put it
yeah,
at the beginning.
I feel awesome. I feel amazing. I'm full of energy all day long. It doesn't go up and down, and there's no spikes and there's no drop. It's just zoom all day
Right.
long.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm very excited to be talking to Brian Kelly from Hunter Gatherer Mindset. If you follow him already on Instagram, it's a great page where you share all things carnivore, hunter gatherer
Hmm.
stuff. We're going to dive deeper into the 4 pillars we were talking about that make up this hunter gatherer mindset. But first, thank you so much for accepting my invite, Brian. Can you share a little bit with our audience your story and your transition from keto to eventually carnivore, and what was the biggest takeaway or all of the positive benefits that you have found from this new lifestyle? And also, what was the trigger? What made you make those changes first?
Yes. Well, first of all, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure. Um, well, yeah, the trigger, first of all. Well, let's say a bit about me. I'm a 53-year-old male. Uh, was going through the normal 53-year-old male stuff and being on the normal kind of Western diet, as we call it here.
Where are you located? I forgot to ask you, by the way.
I'm from Ireland, but I've been living in Denmark for the last 10 years, but
Nice.
currently working in the Netherlands, so I commute quite a lot.
Oh,
So,
nice. We're gonna go to Amsterdam. We're gonna do a
oh,
European
cool.
trip. Yes, in
Okay.
the fall. I'll let you know.
Oh, I'd love to meet up.
Oh,
Meet
totally.
up.
Yeah, all right, right. Love it.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
I'm very excited. Okay.
So yeah, basically I travel around quite a bit around Europe. I work in the data center construction industry.
Mm,
So that's quite you know busy at the moment because of all the requirements for AI and all that kind of stuff.
okay.
So it's a busy sector. It's very demanding sector of construction, and yeah, thanks to the carnivore diet, I'm making my way up the ladder on it pretty
Oh,
quickly.
I can't wait for you to share, especially the mental health aspect, because I feel like that's the most exciting
Yes,
part. At least for me, it is.
it's
Yeah.
yeah one of the greatest of all the benefits that I've found. Yeah, that would be one. So just to get back to where I was, um, yeah, about it was July of 2023 that somebody took a photograph on the site I was working on in Brussels, in Belgium, and even though I wasn't the center of that photograph, I was in it, and that went up on a WhatsApp group. It was something to do about safety or whatever, and there was maybe 500 people on that group. Yeah, and yeah, I zoomed in and I had a look at my huge pot belly, and the inflammation was obvious on my face and even my baggy arms and all that. And it horrified me what I saw. And that was my pivotal moment. That was my why. So from there on, I started studying as much as I could about how to deal with this. How am I going to tackle this? How am I going to change my life? How am I going to turn it around? So, yeah, the more and more I looked into it, the more and more I found people like Dr. Barbara O'Neill, or yeah, Barbara O'Neill, and read the benefits of giving up grains, for example, or cutting out carbohydrates. And slowly, bit by bit, I started doing those things and started seeing some change pretty quickly. Even though I stayed with fruits and veggies and all that, I cut all the processed stuff, cut as much sugar out of my life as possible. And really, from the word go, I started seeing change. And I said, okay, this is good. But then I kept the research going and found that what I was doing was actually becoming ketovore. I guess ketovore, because I always had meat in my diet. Meat and eggs were always there. It's just that they were overpowered by sugar. So yeah, kept reading, and then all of a sudden, Dr. Anthony Chaffee and Dr. Ken Berry and all of the big guns, Dr. Sean Baker, came into my Instagram feed, and I started reading more and more about carnivore, and I said, okay, this is the one. This is where we're going with this. So yeah, I went animal-based. I was cautious at first. So yeah, I would have kept in things like blueberries in my Greek yogurt and things like that, because again, you hear the whole scurvy thing and you hear the whole what about vitamin C thing. So kept it in there just in case. But then again, as I dived deeper into it, realized, okay, if you're not taking in sugar, you don't need as much vitamin C in your life. So yeah, eventually cut it all out and went totally full on carnivore, or as I have some t-shirts, full bore carnivore. So yeah,
Full bore?
That's my little, full bore carnivore.
Nice. Okay. Wow. So what year did the initial transformation start? We're in 2025 right now. So how many years ago
Yeah,
did you first start making changes and cutting out the carbs?
July 23.
2023. And then quickly from
23.
there, right. And
Yeah, I would say then around the same time the following year, even though I had seen so many changes, I still knew there was more that could happen when I found the carnivore diet. And so for the past 12 months, I've been strict carnivore. And wow, what a power up,
Tell
as
me,
you know.
okay, so what is it exactly that you're eating right now? And what are the additional benefits that you have found going strict carnivore?
Okay, other than the weight loss,
Yes.
the
Did you find
benefits.
additional weight loss going from keto?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I got my weight right down below where my target was. I've gone right down, and I'm now at. It's beyond my expectation where I've got. I'm fluctuating between 69 and 71 kilograms.
So how many kilos did you lose all in all?
Yeah, 35 kilos. Yeah, you've got to
35.
do a
Okay,
you've got
so
to do a
that's
calculation on that. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, kilos
Sorry, I'm in
work for
Europe.
me. Yeah, but here in
Yeah,
the States, it's like pounds. So that's
I get
77
it.
pounds.
Yeah, yeah.
That's amazing.
Uh, for
That's
me, it is. Yeah,
Of course. Yeah. No, it's funny.
yeah.
For the first few years living, so I grew up in Lebanon and then I moved to
Uh-huh.
Miami to start my doctorate. And I
Uh-huh.
remember like for a very long time, actually, in my head, I'm still using the metric system. And every time, like for school or
Ah, okay.
whatever, or I have to talk to people, I have to pull up the calculator to explain it what it is in the US system. And only I feel in the last 2 years have my brain and everything now finds the US system easier now. But but
Okay.
I really resisted against that in my head for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So 77 pounds.
Yeah.
Did you
So
exercise?
yes, but not strenuous physical activity. Walking did a lot for me. I mean, I power walked. At the time when I turned full carnivore, um, I was kind of bouncing around Europe a bit. I was working for a different company than I am now, and there was some work that had to be completed in some different cities. So I was in Paris for a while, I was in Brussels for a while, I was in Copenhagen for a while. So uh, basically, what I said to myself is, right, I'm here in this space now. I want to see it. and I want to incorporate exercise into that. So I power walked every weekend, even though I cover a lot of mileage during the day at my work, because of the fact that I'm construction manager. I've got to see everything on quite a vast scale of a construction site. I made use of my weekends, and I did as many steps there. I mean, I was doing 20,000, 25,000 steps on a Sunday, just sightseeing, but power walking the sightseeing, not using the trams, not using the buses. Okay, we'll walk from this site to the next site, to see. So yeah, I saw them all in Paris and Brussels and those wonderful cities.
That's where we're gonna go. I'm so excited that you're showing me all this stuff, because we're gonna be in Amsterdam, we're gonna go to Paris, and then I realized that the train that goes under the water, like under the ocean into London, is just 2 hours, and Germany and Belgium, yes.
Yeah, it's amazing, huh?
Oh, definitely. I'll let you know once we get really close, and you can give us all your advice with all the places to see. And
no problem whatsoever.
Nice.
No problem at all.
I love what you did just in the weekends, because a lot of people have a very hard time moving if they have a 9 to 5. In some environments, it's not easy for them to get a treadmill desk or a desk bike. Not everybody has a lot of flexibility in that. So it just goes to show that it doesn't have to be every single day you have to work out. If you literally cannot, you have the weekend, and then really compensate all of the workouts or the walking low intensity that you could have done during the week. You could do it over the weekend. And that with carnivore, I mean, it's just the weight literally just falls off.
Absolutely, 100%. I mean, at my age, I'm 53, for me to go into a gym and think about working out, I've never done that in my life. So it's kind of difficult to get that around your head. I would feel in the wrong place to start out with. So yeah, I've picked up some weights that I'm starting to use at home. And I'm doing a little bit of calisthenics, that kind of stuff. I'm still walking quite a bit. I'm very curious when I go to a new place. I'm going to meet my son this weekend in Bremen, which is only about an hour and a half drive from here. It's in Germany. And I intend to explore that city for a day and really get to know it and power walk it all with him.
Nice.
Who incidentally, he's just started the carnivore diet as well.
How old is he?
About a month ago. He's 22.
Nice. How come?
Well, he sees the difference in his dad, and he sees the people around him that he works with. He's in construction also, but he's training to be a qualified electrician at the moment in the same industry that I'm in. Like I said, it's in huge demand at the moment. And yeah, he saw the changes in me, and also he's seeing what's happening to his peers around him. They're drinking these energy drinks all day long, and they're eating out of fast food restaurants because they're away from home. They're just not bothered. Mama isn't there anymore to cook for them, so they're not willing to do it for themselves. They come home from work tired, and just either microwave one of those cheap TV dinner things, or just go to the fast food outlet, the nearest one. So they're eating junk. So he's seeing the impact of that, and these guys are showing up to work and they're tired, they're lethargic, and not thinking clearly. And there he is, sharp as shiny new pin. And
I hope you're enjoying this podcast. Remember that I will send you a free copy of my guide, the 30-Day Carnivore Diet Challenge Guide, when you sign up to my newsletter at drzaldivar.com/newsletter. Also, if you are looking for more one-on-one personalized support, check out my coaching packages at drzaldivar.com/coaching. Now back to the podcast.
Loves it, the effect that it's having on him. Like he did, like I kind of said to him, take down all the things and transition nice and slowly. Just cut out all the junk slowly and up your protein and your fats, and eventually you'll get there. and he's thriving on it, and
Wow.
he's only 23. So
I love that.
I really like that. Yeah.
Of course, because
Yeah.
of the change that you made, you inspired your family to follow
Yeah.
in that suit. And that always works
Yeah.
so much better than you
Absolutely.
trying to preach to people, do this, that.
I know.
I don't preach to anybody. I don't say, even if they
Yeah.
ask me, sometimes they ask just to make conversations, but they don't really want to do anything.
Yeah.
So
They're curious as to how you got where you've got. Oh, wow, you look so good. You look so great. You have so much energy. You're so flexible, blah, blah, blah. How did you do it? Well, I'm on the carnivore diet. Oh, none of that for me. Sorry.
it's so
Yeah.
true. It's
Because cholesterol, because scurvy, all this. Yeah.
a lot. Yeah. A lot of
Yeah.
people just want to make small talk. I get it. I understand. Sometimes you feel like you have to say something, but they're not really ready to make the change. It has to come from within. Yeah.
Absolutely. My motto is now just lead by example. And if they're curious, they'll come to you. Yeah.
Yes.
And I find that at work. I always pre-cook my lunches. I don't know if you've seen some of my reels is about my pre-cooked lunch for the next day, and it goes into my glass lunch boxes. These things happen when you're a carnivore. You get rid of plastic out of your life and stuff like that.
True.
You start to think about everything. There's no more shampoos and all of that. But anyway, yeah. So they see me cooking my food every day. Yes.
Tallow shampoo.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
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 Because I know some people are like, what does he mean? He's no more shampoos. They're on the edge of their seat. They want to know.
Yeah. I was having a conversation with somebody at work, and I said, "Oh, I stopped using toothpaste 12 months ago." What? You don't clean your teeth? I didn't say that. I said I stopped using chemical
fluoridated
toothpaste.
Yeah.
I make my own. I didn't say I don't brush my teeth. Thank you. Yeah. I make my own.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So
yeah.
So tell me more about what you like, the food that you're eating. Is it ground beef and you put them in glass containers?
Well, my typical, I mean, there's not an exact typical, but I like to mix it up between beef, eggs, seafood, that kind of stuff. Very simple foods. When I say seafood, it would be mainly prawns or shrimp, salmon. But
what did you call the shrimp? What was that word you used?
Prawns, we call them here.
Bronze. Wow. Okay.
Prawns with a P.
Oh, pawns.
Prawn. P-R-A-W-N.
Right. I'm a
prawn.
dietitian. I should know. I know the word. I don't know why I'm blocking. I'm just blacking out right now.
No worries.
Okay.
Yeah, and again, wild-caught salmon. I don't go for the farm stuff.
Wild-caught salmon?
Yeah, when I can find it, I'll have that. I like to try it. Oh, yeah.
So, because I know when I do shrimp or prawns, I will add butter to it normally, yes.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, yeah, eggs, sometimes I'll grate some Parmesan or something like that into the eggs just to give them a little extra. Yeah, not every day, but some days I'll have a ribeye or a leftover from, or whatever is a good cut. Now, incidentally, most of my food, bacon is the one other thing.
Gotcha.
But I'll talk to you about the bacon. I only buy it from a farmer that I know where those pigs are raised.
Okay, so not like added sugars and all the stuff that you would normally get in regular but
Nothing. The bacon I buy is in a block, and I got to cut it myself. It's there's no additives, no preservatives. The only thing that's there is a little bit of salt.
Nice, perfect. Cheeses outside of Parmesan, do you add anything else? Like a lot of cheese? Do you ever feel like you have to cut back on cheese?
No, I've always loved cheese in my life. I like cheddar mostly.
Cheddar.
It's a big thing in Ireland. It's what I grew up with. Of course, we have Kerrygold in Ireland. They make some wonderful. They make some wonderful cheese as well, all from grass-fed cows.
And you get it raw?
And
Can you get it raw or
yeah, sorry, no, it's mildly pasteurized.
is it illegal to get it raw?
At the moment, I think it is in Ireland, yes, which is crazy because our culture in Ireland. I mean, when I was a kid, I used to go to my granddad's farm, which was right next door to my mum's house. The farmhouse was there, and I used to go with a jug to the milk can from the cows that had been milked that day, and I dipped the jug into that and brought it down to my mum for breakfast time.
Wow.
So that's as raw as it gets. So that's what I was raised on.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't get it. Why we had to start pasteurizing milk and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, when I can get raw milk and when I have access to it, I will go for that immediately, straight away.
Okay. Did
Yeah.
you feel any cravings, any difficulty? I know you did a transitional thing, so it wasn't that you went from
Yeah.
regular anything to
Yeah.
carnivore. That I'm sure that helped, but still, what was your experience with cravings or food addiction or anything like of that sort?
Because I transitioned slowly, I think that I beat the cravings in a slow fashion, and my motivation was so high that I kind of just pushed the cravings aside. I said, don't care if you think that cake looks nice, you're not having it, you know? So yeah, the goal beat the cravings.
Have you ever tried
Definitely.
dieting before doing this lifestyle change? Did you ever try to
No,
diet?
no, not really. No, it's only in the last 10 or 12 years I might have had the issues that I had, you know. As you know, they're an accumulation over the years. So I was fine until my 30s, but from there on, you know, I got the middle-age spread, as they call it.
Right. So it was
So
slow. It was slow. It wasn't like
yeah, it was probably creeping up on me, but you wouldn't notice it. I was always quite fit. I'm a carpenter by trade, so I was very active, you know, in my earlier years, right up to my 30s.
Yeah.
But then, of course, I got a management job or started climbing the ladder. And yeah, maybe you get more relaxed as well. Your evenings are a bit more sedentary, as they call it, as they say.
Okay. And
So yeah.
who else in your family would you say has been inspired or curious about that transformation? Because, you know, first of all, just the weight loss alone will get people curious, but then the carnivore thing is a whole other crazy
Oh,
thing to
that's a
twist people.
you don't lead with that.
No, no, lesson learned.
Yeah, like you said, people are curious. I mean, I've tried to advise my mom. She's in her almost late 70s. My dad unfortunately died last year.
I'm sorry.
Thank you. Yeah, and he died of totally preventable causes, you know, which is another thing that pushed me towards the carnivore diet more and to find out more about it. And that's why I'm doing the coaching with Peter and the coaching
Oh,
course.
oh, I'm doing the
And
coaching with them. Did you know? Yeah,
I know I've read your
the modules. Yeah,
module. Yeah,
we
when
did the
the first one came
addiction
out.
one. Yeah, and we're gonna do the gut,
Yeah,
and so I'll be teaching these two modules for now. And yeah, shout out to Coach Peter, coaching
absolutely.
certificate.
Yeah, and Eddie as well gave some great you know modules
Yes.
there too, and yeah. So that's really my pastime, if you want to call it that, at the moment. I'm really engrossing myself into you know investing my spare time into that, plus growing my Instagram a little bit. I intend to keep going with that. But yeah, where was I?
Your
I was
dad
talking about the
was
family. Yeah,
another motivator to,
yeah,
of course.
yeah, exactly. I mean, his death. He died of a horrible stroke, which knocked him out within a few weeks. He was gone.
A horrible what?
Stroke.
Stroke. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I do blame medical negligence on it because of a number of different reasons. I'm not going to go into it here. But yeah, anyway, that motivated me more to try and help my mum. But it's falling on deaf ears. She's not changing her mind. You
Yeah,
know,
this addiction.
she's been listening to, she's on statins, and I know that it's all killing her, you know. She's very inflamed, barely able to move and walk and crippled with pain. And I'm trying my best to help her, but she's just pushing back, you know. It's, yeah, she
Would
just
you
doesn't want to
say
listen.
would you say food addiction or just the thing is, even if you don't have food addiction, over a lifetime of eating ultra processed foods, you develop the same brain as a food addict, you know, who is
Yeah,
somebody who's
yeah,
trying to develop it from a young age. It's just you destroy
yeah,
the dopamine receptors in your brain and it becomes harder. Although you can still do it at any age, you know, it's just the thought.
yeah. But
Yeah.
when it comes to my mom, I think she believes doctors too much, and all these people that are influencing and yeah,
Yeah.
listen to advertisements so much. You know, you got to have your Weetabix, you got to have your oatmeal or whatever, and yeah,
Yeah.
sourdough is better than this bread, is better than that bread,
Yeah.
and yeah, she just has bad eating habits based on, you know, doctor's advice. You got to cut your cholesterol, blah blah blah, and she
Yeah.
just won't come out of that for me.
Yeah.
She won't
Yeah.
listen.
No, it has
So
to come
it's
from
breaking
within.
my heart, but I can't force it into her, you know?
No, you
So
can't.
that's the way it is there, I'm afraid. There's nothing I can do. But look, what I can do is influence my kids. And that's what's driving me forward with this.
How many kids do you
Uh,
have?
I have three from two different relationships. I have two boys that live in Ireland mostly. There's Liam, he's the 22-year-old. He's coming to see me this weekend. And I've got Colin. He is 18 and he works part-time in a butcher, so he gets loads of ribeyes. On a Saturday evening when he comes home, he has a ribeye, he throws it in the pan. So he's
He's
actually,
also a carnivore?
no, I wouldn't say so. He sees the transformation in me and he understands that eating real food is good. But of course, he's got his mum influencing him as well, and she's more into yeah, the healthy 5 a day kind of thing as well. So
Yeah.
I don't argue with that because that would create tension.
No,
So I
I get
don't
it.
argue with that. Yeah, it's different with the 22-year-old. He's away from mum and working and thinking for himself. So him, I can influence, and I'm going to grab him this weekend, and he's going to have a carnivore weekend with me.
Nice.
So yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So I'll leave it as it is while the younger guy is with his mum. But maybe when he steps away from that, I can talk to him more about it.
Yeah.
You know, but he is thinking about what he's eating, and he doesn't eat junk, and he understands the power of meat and eggs and all that kind of stuff. So yeah,
Perfect.
okay, he's got some veg in there, but we'll leave
Yeah.
that for now. So yeah, that's two of them, and then fast forward, I have a little 5-year-old daughter in Denmark. I told you
Nice.
I've lived there for 10 years.
Huh?
Yeah, I've lived in Copenhagen for 10 years now, and I have a little daughter there, Emily. She's beautiful. She's half Danish, half Irish.
Mm.
So, yeah, she, of course, is influenced by her mum quite a lot because I work away. I only see her every couple of weeks. Uh, and sometimes she sees me coming in the door and she says, "Oh, goody, Daddy's here. We'll have real food now."
He says that?
Yeah, yeah, she has said it.
That's
Yeah,
amazing at 5.
yeah.
She's like
But
real.
I don't push it with her mom because we get into arguments about it, and I don't want to do that because, again, yeah.
Yeah,
So
of course.
I leave it for now. I'll pick it up when she's older. So
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Oh, I
yeah.
completely get that, you
She
know?
her mom again has seen the transformation in me, and she knows that what I'm talking about is true. But again, of course, she's listening to doctors and parents and all that kind of stuff. So you can't break into someone's mind. You
No.
have to, you know. But she can see the differences that has happened to me. So
What
yeah.
are the biggest or all of the benefits that you found once you went carnivore? Obviously, the weight loss improved as well, but
Yeah.
what else?
Yeah. Now, some of them took longer than others to feel the difference. Like the biggest one that happened for me, other than gout, is inflammation.
Mm.
Sorry, other than the weight loss, is the inflammation. And I had quite severe gout. You know what gout is, right?
Yeah, so that went away.
Yeah. That's gone
Wow.
completely,
There you go.
right? Gone
And we're told not
completely.
to eat meat, right? Because so for people, I'm sure
Yeah,
people
exactly. Yeah.
know, gout is just inflammation and pain in your joints. And the idea is
Yeah.
that meats are high in purines, which increase uric
Yeah.
acid, which inflame the joints. And so
Uh-huh.
thus we shouldn't be eating high purine containing foods like meat. And it's horrible advice because
Yeah.
people are eating all the carbs and the sugars, which is leading to
Yeah.
increased endogenous
Well,
antibodies,
actually,
more uric
you
acid.
know, the more, yeah, the more and more I researched about it, the blueberries were doing more harm. You know, I mentioned earlier that I got as far as only having blueberries as the only fruit or veg in my life,
Mhm.
and it still wasn't quite gone, the gout. But when I cut them, about a month later, just disappeared. So yeah,
Wow.
fructose actually affects inflammation
Yeah,
quite as
it could
much
be that.
as
It could
anything
be
else. Yeah.
the plant anti-nutrients, the plant self-defense chemicals. It could be so many things.
Uh-huh.
Just people
Exactly. Yeah.
aren't, they're not, the scientists are so convinced that plants are good for you that they don't even bother to make
Yeah.
the study, starting with the hypothesis. Maybe fruit and certain chemicals in fruits, like the plant toxins, maybe that's causing joint pain or brain fog or whatever.
Yeah.
Like the hypothesis isn't being put out for people to even study.
Yeah.
Not yet, at least, but it'll
Yeah. I
happen.
mean, I find that in the last year and a half to 2 years, you know, the amount of words I've learned, like oxalates and all these things, you know, it's amazing the discoveries I've made, and I'm learning about the actual science behind it now in the course, and I'm loving it so much to have all these answers for people, you know. So
Nice.
yeah, inflammation was the biggest thing for me, you know, to be able to
It,
get off the sofa
mhm.
without grunting and groaning, without having to push myself up. You know, I was getting to that stage. To jump out of bed in the morning with loads of energy is amazing. Uh, Prior to my beginnings in 2023, I had been diagnosed with sleep apnea,
Mhm.
right? So I was constantly getting up at night, every 2 hours maybe. Uh, get up, you know, maybe use the bathroom, whatever, and then decide, oh, I need a drink of water, or I need something. And I'd wake up for about a half an hour. And next thing, the TV goes on.
Mm.
And just, yeah, I was in a constant cycle and constantly tired. That's all gone away now. When I go to bed and fall asleep hard for 7 hours. That's my wake up. I just jump up after 7 hours with full energy, ready to face the day. So that was a big one for me as well.
Me too. That jumping up
Yeah,
out of bed feeling just I'm ready to go. I
it's
don't have that
just
brain fog. That's a game
unbelievable. Yeah,
changer. Yeah.
uh-huh.
Who knew
Yeah,
veggies could cause just the sluggishness. It would take me a long time to get out of bed in the
yeah,
morning. And I think that goes hand
yeah,
in hand with like low grade depression and then once that
yeah.
lifts, you feel different.
Uh-huh. Plus, I guess the constant need for snacking with the high sugar, high carb diet.
Mm,
You know, you're sitting maybe watching bloody Netflix or something like that all night, and you're constantly grazing on crappy foods
yeah.
until late at night, and that's the stuff that wakes you up during the night because your gut is working overtime to try and get rid of all this junk. So yeah, I find that on a carnivore diet, I sometimes only eat one meal a day. That would be mid morning,
Yep.
mid to late morning, so between 10 and 12 o'clock
Yep.
in the morning. Uh, so mostly I would eat one meal a day. Sometimes I'll break it up and I'll have two meals, but I'll keep them within a short window. So it could be 10 o'clock, 2 o'clock.
Yeah. That's
So
what
I
I
have
do.
half
Yeah.
half a meal and half a meal, but in a short window, 4 hours.
Yep.
And sometimes I'll get to that stage and I'll just skip a day. say, all right, okay, not feeling hungry, let's keep going. So yeah, occasionally, maybe once every 2 weeks, I'll do that.
Just skip a day, full complete day.
Just skip a day, yeah. But it's so easy on this lifestyle, you know. It really is.
I feel like it just naturally comes. Like I haven't eaten anything all day. I've been up since 5:30 a.m. this morning.
Yeah.
And right now it's 2 p.m. I've already ran 5 miles. I worked, posted a YouTube videos, edited, saw coaching clients, jumped on this call, all the stuff. And I'm zero hunger. My energy is high, you know.
That's the beauty of it, isn't it?
Right? Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
The gout.
The mental clarity. Yeah.
Let's talk about the mental clarity, but first, the gout. How you said 1 month on carnivore, the gout went away, all the joint pain went away.
Well, I would imagine that it was an accumulation of the keto and getting rid of the sugars as well for the first 12 months, let's say.
So the joint pain was gradually lessening?
It was gradually decreasing, yeah, as I was giving up more and more stuff and becoming more and more keto, and then moving towards ketovore, as we call it. So yeah, it was gradually reducing, but still hadn't quite gone. It was only until I totally gave up the fruit that it disappeared. Maybe a month after, maybe a month after that. Yeah.
So the last thing that was still there with the blueberries, and the moment you eliminated the blueberries, all gout, your last remaining effects of gout completely went away.
Yeah, it's completely gone. I mean, you know, I can get down into the ancestral squat now without any pain, kind of thing, you know. Yeah, which is amazing. But I mean, it's every joint in your body. I mean, my fingers feel more flexible. My neck, the range of motion on my neck is way better. You know, it's just every joint in your body. I think I described it once as my joints feel like they're made of rubber bands and WD-40 compared to where I was.
This is going to be the hook for this YouTube video. I'm going to clip that, put it in the video. I love it. Okay.
Yeah, it does feel like that to me because I had gone past the point of rescue and I rescued myself. So I'm so happy about that.
Of course.
So, yeah.
Mental clarity. Let's talk about that. Did you ever struggle with depression or anxiety or obsessive compulsive disorder or anything of mental health related?
No, I wouldn't say that it did, to be honest. Lucky enough, my parents were very good. My dad was my mentor, and yeah, he raised me pretty well. You know, I'm Irish. We're kind of thick-skinned. We let things slide. We don't take things too personally, or you know, that kind of thing. So I wouldn't say I had a mental disorder by any means. But brain fog, definitely from my 30s on, definitely was becoming an issue. You know, forgetting stuff and lack of motivation and not pushing myself in my career as much as I should have or could have. So that kind of stuff, yeah. I mean, 2 years ago, I wouldn't have dreamed of having an Instagram account and doing what I'm doing right now after my job, you know, outside of my job. It's enabled me to take a step up the ladder in my career. You know, it's opened up a new world for me in the last 12 months or so, maybe a little more, but yeah.
How quickly did you notice the effects on the mental clarity and the motivation, which is huge? Imagine a diet giving you motivation. How amazing is that? How long did it take? Or did it also happen gradually as you improved your diet and then, you know?
Yeah, I would say because I had no exact starting date for the carnivore or the keto in my head, I know, right, this is my start. That's why I don't have the before pictures that everybody else has. I have that one photograph that started my journey, but I didn't actually put dates on it because I didn't feel that it was going to go where it has gone. Luckily enough, but So yeah, when you say how long did it take, I don't know exactly, but it didn't take that long, a few months, I would say, before I had the clarity and
Mm.
that kind of stuff.
For me personally, I definitely felt a major shift when I had veggies, keto veggies, low carb veggies,
Yeah,
versus zero veggies, just meat.
yeah,
It was like night and day. So for me, I could tell like, wow, vegetables give me like brain fog, just fuzzy feeling, and this
yeah,
kind of like you're dragging your way out of bed, like you don't want to get out of bed, you know?
yeah. Well, it's also the effects of sugar and the lack of cholesterol and that kind of stuff as well.
Yeah,
As
but
we all
like,
know, the bread. Yeah,
but for me, even like super clean diet, no sugar, nothing, just
yeah.
eating real whole foods with veggies and
Uh-huh.
meat. So just basically veggies and meat, all I eat, right?
Yeah.
Versus just meat. Like I did that experiment, and that was crazy to me. So it wasn't like, oh,
Uh-huh.
just because I removed the sugar. It was the veggies. There was no other explanation. You
Yeah.
know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Like I say, carnivore is probably the ultimate elimination diet. You
I
know,
agree.
Michaela Peterson brought it to the extreme with the lion diet, and well, we all know what she achieved with that.
True.
She experienced some amazing healing. So yeah, it's just a case of cutting it down to the basics and see what works for you then, I think. Would I ever go back there? Uh-uh. No, this is it for me now.
Any
Full bore
additional
carnivore
things?
for life.
Yeah, I feel like once you feel the state, it's difficult to take a step back. Why? Why would you want to feel suboptimal? It makes no sense.
Exactly. Why would you go back to that?
Hmm.
I feel awesome. I feel amazing. I'm full of energy all day long. It doesn't go up and down, and there's no spikes and there's no trough. It's just zoom all day
Right.
long. Yeah.
What else did you notice? Any other thing that we forgot? We talked about gout, motivation is higher, mental clarity, brain fog's gone.
Well, I've done a little series at the moment on my Instagram where I just list one item at a time. I've noticed differences in my hair, my nails. One of them is cracked heels.
Yeah.
The skin and the
Yeah.
heels. Uh,
So it's
yeah,
not a
so many
Vaseline
things.
deficiency then.
No, it's not for sure. I mean, tanning in the sun is different. Again, when you become carnivore, you realize that all these products are doing you so much harm. Uh, and last year, I did not use sunscreen in any way. And it was the first year that I had a beautiful tan that didn't give me sores afterwards,
Mm.
right? Because sometimes, most times over the last 10, 15 years, during the summer, if I overexposed any little bit, I used to get sores that got itchy all over my arms. And that
Like
didn't happen last
eczema or
little bit, yeah, a little bit like that. And you just scratch it without realizing, and the next thing is broken open. And yeah, and that was horrible. I hated it. And but that didn't happen last year.
wow.
It just didn't. And I didn't use sunscreen. Now I watched to be cautious about overexposing. I'm not suggesting anyone just doesn't use sunscreen anymore. That would be ridiculous. You've got to change your diet first
Hmm.
because it's from the inside, as you know. It's from the inside. Your eyes get the signal from the UV rays, and it does all the good stuff inside. We won't go into the science of it, but yeah, I find that even this year, it's only springtime here. We've had quite a nice spring, but it's not hot, the sunshine. And I've got that much of a tan.
Wow, that's
Yeah, and people at
crazy.
work are still white. And people say, "Oh, Brian, were you away? Were you in Spain or something?" No, I've been in the same place you have, right? And it's just I seem to tan very quickly and easily. I
Yeah,
don't know. Maybe that's a good thing, I guess.
that's Very
But
interesting. Yeah, maybe plant
yeah,
trunks. I've seen this very commonly on carnivores.
yeah,
My hypothesis is that maybe plants, the plant self-defense chemicals, one of the ways that they work is maybe destroy the melanocytes or the functioning of those cells, and so you can't produce your natural sunscreen, which is melanin, anymore as
yeah,
effectively or as
exactly.
easily. But that's just a hypothesis that obviously we need to test out and see. But it's
Yeah,
common, this experience.
yeah,
Okay. Hunter-gatherer mindset. That's your Instagram. We were talking about the
uh-huh.
4 pillars that you believe in. That is the origin of the name of your Instagram account. Can you share a little bit more
Yeah,
about
I
that?
know it sounds a little unusual, I guess, but over the course of my journey, I discovered, a number of different things that worked for me. Uh, in my early days, I started fasting quite a bit, and as we touched on earlier, I practice OMAD, sometimes go into longer fastings. So you have this feast-famine cycle, which actually, when you think about it, replicates when we were hunter-gatherers. They might have gone a day or two without having food, and then they had loads of food, and then they would gorge until they got some more. So, that was intermittent fasting in itself. So when you put that together with the fact that grounding, in nature, or earthing, as a lot of people call it, which is being barefoot on the ground, um, really, really does a lot for your circulation. It does a lot for so many things. It improves your mood. And yeah, it's really good for you all around. I started doing that and feeling the benefits of that as well over the last 12 months, or maybe even a little bit more. Um, so yeah, there's two items that bring me to my hunter-gatherer. They never wore shoes until, I don't know, the last couple of thousand years, I guess. Um, and of course, the carnivore diet, their diet would have been almost 100% carnivore, without a doubt. All archaeological and anthropological evidence points to that. Um,
There's no cave painting of a salad, right? There's
you got
gotta
that
be a
right.
good reason for that.
You got that right, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, uh, yeah, those are three of the four things that come together. And the last one is sunshine that we just talked about. We need the sun for our bodies to work properly, to synthesize D3, all that kind of stuff. So when you put the four of them together, they work for me. So that's where I came up with the hunter-gatherer mindset.
I love it. Um, yeah, I started really delving deep into the hunter-gatherer history when I was trying to clear my acne, and I was 18, 19, something like that. I really started seeing dermatologists like at 17 or 18 when, I started really paying attention that I have those like not cystic acne, but a lot of like whiteheads and blackheads, but under the skin. It was a skin color, but like the skin wasn't smooth. You could see it's got bumps in it. It's tiny bumps.
Yeah, yeah,
And I did Accutane twice. I did, that was so stupid. Antibiotics, that was dumber actually. The 3-month antibiotic treatment, that was probably way dumber. But anyway, and I mean every single drug that you can think of, I've done. And that's when I
yeah.
realized
It's
that
crazy. Yeah,
exactly, and they don't know, those dermatologists, they don't know
not a clue.
anything. And even
Not at all.
when I came to Miami, I saw a dermatologist at the University of Miami. I remember, I'll never forget, because by that point I was starting, I read Dr. Lauren Cordain, The Acne Cure. That's how I got into the whole paleo, hunter-gatherer, and, all that
Yeah,
literature. Um, and then I came to Miami, and that first few months, it was obviously not easy being a student by yourself in a foreign country.
yeah.
So my diet, like I would try to do paleo, but I would still eat junk and whatever. And I saw, and the skin, I just couldn't handle the skin flaring up. So I remember seeing this dermatologist, really like older physician. He was probably like in his late 70s. So
Hmm.
imagine all the experience. all of experience in dermatology, right? All he does is see patients, and you're like, that's your job. And I asked him, what do you think about the paleo diet? And he was like, what's paleo?
Yeah,
So not only like that's how disconnected the medical system is from the root
exactly. It's
causes. You
skewed,
know?
completely skewed. Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway,
Well, that comes from the education system and how they're taught, you know. So I don't blame them personally. I
yeah.
blame the information they're given in the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah, well, me
That
too,
would be my
right?
opinion. Yeah, yeah.
Nutrition education. I mean, even up until I graduated with my PhD. So the bachelor's degree, master's degree, a whole year of, internship at a hospital and passing the boards exams, and then a 7-year
Uh-huh.
PhD degree. Not once did we learn about plant anti-nutrients or ancestral
No,
eating or any of this stuff. It was just,
of course not.
yeah, completely disconnected. So,
Didn't fit the narrative.
exactly, the Academy of
Yeah.
Nutrition and Dietetics can't really profit, I
Well,
guess. Off.
yeah.
I don't know if it's always from negative intentions. I think the people who end up thriving in the traditional dietetics world,
Hmm.
or in the Academy of Nutrition Dietetics and all this stuff, are people who um, either they never really try to improve themselves, because you won't realize that you have a food addiction or a problem with food, or the foods that you're eating are wrong, unless you're setting high standards for yourself. So, because I
Uh-huh.
see dietitians that I went to school with, and they look average, and they've never really tried to improve or try to improve their health. And so they never really came across the wall, because you only discover the wall once you try to reach above. So
Yeah. Yeah.
there's that, right? And then there's another group of people who really never had a problem with food. Like they're just, they can eat whatever, they're super healthy, their gut health is amazing, they have strong defenses against plant toxins. And some people, yeah, they can eat whatever they want, and they might, usually nutritionists are making an effort to eat more whole foods. So
Yeah.
they're fine. So they never, again, so for them, everything we're talking about is so foreign. They never had this strong reason to explore all the literature outside of what we're being given in traditional academia,
Exactly. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
see. And
Yeah.
so it's not always that, it's a big conspiracy, and it's like, no, it's like just people kind of fall in place because of what they already kind of feel is a problem or is not a problem. So it's like this
Yeah.
stuff is just eat, just eat whole foods and you'll be fine. I don't understand why my clients are getting better. It's because you never went through the struggle to understand what they're up against, you see?
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
So
Yeah.
anyway.
It's crazy. Yeah. So many things that add up.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's yeah, this whole world. It's
You
like
look at
every
the
day.
food pyramid. You look at the food pyramid. Everyone thought this was the best thing that ever came around, and we now know it's absolute
Yeah, the food pyramid is
BS.
probably the root cause of my food addiction, because I just had
Uh,
like maybe 2, 3 pounds when I was like 12, 13, that I needed to lose, and
yeah,
begged my mom to take me to a dietitian. So we took me to a dietitian, gave us the food guide pyramid, and now all of a sudden my mom's cooking with even more carbs and more pasta and more rice.
exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, Brian, this was a
yeah. Yeah.
pleasure. Where can people
Likewise.
Thank you so much. Well, actually, is there anything you would like to mention that I forgot to ask you about that you think is important? And also, where can people find you and connect with you so that they can see all the amazing content that you're constantly putting out?
Thank you. Well, yeah. First of all, it's a pleasure to have spoken with you, Dr. Sarah. Yeah, absolutely lovely.
Thank you.
Um,
Just call me Sarah, by the way. Don't.
okay, I'm being polite and using your title, so yeah, that's kind of me. But um, yeah, just you can get me through the Instagram for now. I haven't really spread it much more than that. I have spread it to Facebook. It's the same name on Facebook, but I'm keeping that more personal. That's just about my own journey.
Gotcha.
My Instagram is kind of blowing up, but it's because I share a lot of stuff, and I do a lot of kind of controversial posts about different things. I include things like, I have some passions like regenerative farming, all that kind of stuff. But my Facebook one, I'm keeping it just for my journey. So it's like a personal journal, if you want to call it that. So yeah, drop me a follow on that. That'd be cool. Yeah, other than that, I'm seeing where this goes. I don't know. I'm doing the coaching course for now, for my own benefit to start with. Who knows where I'm going to take that? I have a good career at the moment. I don't envisage changing that drastically just yet, but I want to have the qualifications that I can start to help at least maybe a handful of people to start with, and build up there from there on and see where it takes me. I do have an idea that I might want to roll out on construction sites. I have a lot of connection with people that work in construction, and I'm seeing the sickness and the misery that's happening with these guys that are working away from home, and they're, obese. They're struggling with inflammation and mental health issues. A guy my age, he had a heart attack on site at 52. Now, he was quite a large gentleman, only a few months back, and he was taken away by ambulance and died 2 days later. He died in hospital. He went into a coma after the heart attack and died in hospital. And this type of thing is happening more and more on construction sites worldwide. So I'm looking at putting together a little kind of presentation to start maybe looking into do some lecturing on that, or not lecturing, but at least trying to make these guys wake up and see that eating the way they're eating is doing this kind of thing. So yeah, I see really bad habits, from guys working away from home.
Yeah, it's habits, and they get sucked into the addiction without knowing it, because
Absolutely.
not everybody, right? I mean, most people still aren't alert enough to how food has been turned into a recreational drug, but people have been using it so much it's no longer recreational. It's like you're using without even knowing that you're using. Eventually, you're gonna become a full-blown addict.
So that's one of the reasons I'm doing the coaching course, is I want to look into maybe starting a program with the company that I work for.
Yeah.
Maybe do once a week where I take a room full of guys in and we have a talk about what the sugar does and what the grains do and what this does, and maybe not make it carnivore to start with, but to get them thinking about what they're putting into their bodies and what effect it's having. When I look around, it's something like 70% of guys are overweight, and those guys are down as far as their early 20s,
Mm.
It's scary. It really is.
It's a tough thing. No, yeah. That's another thing, is that sometimes I'll post videos to try and catch a wider net of an audience, because if there's a carnivore diet in the title, unfortunately, people automatically discredit it, and it's tough. It's like, how can I share my passion, but at the same time want people to click on it? And so I try to do videos that are like, fast weight loss. And some people, not everybody has it like we have to do. I understand. In my 20s, carnivore, there's no way I would have done it. I had to do that. I don't know. It's tough. It's tough, but I
that's one of the reasons. That's one of the reasons I went with the hunter-gatherer thing. For me, that kind of wider net. I post sometimes about sunshine. I post about sea salt, or I post about all the different facets that work together, and that's what's made me grow pretty quickly, I think. So yeah, if you've got a number of avenues to your hook, I think that works best.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I said, I wouldn't lead if I was going into my bosses and saying, right, I'd like to do this presentation once a week for half an hour with a room full of guys, or whatever.
Yeah.
I wouldn't lead with the word carnivore.
Exactly. Exactly.
What I would do is at the end of it say, okay, there are ways to take this further. Go home and have a think about it. This is my Instagram page. If you think what I talked about makes sense, I can talk to you more about it personally. and then introduce it to that person that comes to me, you know?
Perfect. I think that's
Yeah.
a much smarter way. And that's what I try
And
to remind myself to do also with my
yeah,
content. Don't
yeah,
lead with carnivore.
yeah. Even though I go full bore carnivore sometimes, yeah,
It's
but
hard. I know we can't contain the excitement
it
sometimes.
is difficult it is for sure. Yeah, so
That's yeah, good.
that's
Yeah,
kind
it's
of where I'm going with it. It's within an industry that I know and understand, and I believe I can do some good in that industry. So yeah, and possibly lead to clients from that also, private clients that I can work with one on one. You know.
yeah,
So
yeah.
that's where I'm going with the coaching course.
I love that. Yeah, and
Yeah,
yeah, the social media is I'm so glad you're doing that as well because there's no limit to the amount of people that you can reach. It's literally limitless. You know, there are
absolutely.
millions of people, right?
Yeah, exactly. But however, my opinion on it is, yeah, anybody can go coaching online, but when you can sit down face to face with somebody and work with them,
Yeah.
and they can see, you know, you're there, they can see your results and right there in front of them. I believe that I will get more results from a potential client if
Yeah.
they can, you know, because I'll have the before photograph on the wall behind me.
True.
Yeah, so they can see,
And
okay,
that's
that's where he came from. Yeah,
because and we're all wanting to do everything online, so that can be also your power is that everybody wants to do online, so now you're offering in person. Some people just love to be, you know, in person. It's yeah, totally.
yeah, yeah. So I'd rather help 10 people face to face than 10,000 people that don't really get it, kind of thing, you know?
Hmm.
So I'd rather be a big influence on 10 people than, you know, have a vast audience there that just isn't, yeah, getting it
Yeah.
properly, and they're going to fade off it, and
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, like a
So
focused effect. Or you could do both too, because the thing is with the
yeah, I guess so.
one-on-one,
Yeah,
right, you will always be capped. Like you're always going to be trading time for money. You know, at some point you're
yeah.
going to be a bottleneck where you only have so many hours in the day. So maybe,
Yes,
or
I
you can
understand that.
hire
Yeah,
people, you know? Yeah. Anyway, I always
yeah.
like, when I'm coaching, I'm always like, we could do this, we could do that, and we could,
I
or
know I have
because
so
like,
many ideas too. It's mind-boggling, but I just want to take it step by step now and see where it goes.
it's an
I'm quite busy in my career at the moment that I'm very happy in, but yeah, I'm looking at maybe, you know, towards the later years in life that I can really make use of this, you know, and help other people. So that's why I'm glad I joined the program that we're in so soon, so early on.
I love that.
So I'm
Very
really, really delighted with it. Yeah.
I'm so happy that we connected. Amazing
Uh-huh.
transformation, and you see how like the fitness also affects how you can work even more, and not just with your main job, but then have more
Absolutely.
energy for another job, you know?
Exactly. I mean, the guys at work can't understand it. There are guys half my age that can't keep up with me
Yeah.
on site. I say, "Oh, come here. We need to go over here and look at this." And I'm there, and he's just, you know, they don't
Yeah.
have the same energy or vibe that I do.
Yeah, it's like the carb
So
coma, you know? You just don't have that energy for sure.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I will make sure that I link your Instagram account in the description box below. And I want to thank you again for sharing your transformation, really inspiring. And I'm sure a lot of people are going to get motivated after watching this to finally
I hope
take it
so.
to that next level. Stop the blueberries,
Yeah.
everybody.
Exactly. It's all
Right?
down to the blueberries.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And yeah, and we'll definitely stay connected, Brian. So thank you again. Thank you
I'd
everyone
like that.
for sticking with us till the end. If you enjoyed this kind of content, make sure you let me know by giving this YouTube video a thumbs up, subscribing, and hitting that little notification bell icon so YouTube alerts you every time I post a new video. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.